Welcome to another episode of Growth Hacker TV. I'm Bronson Taylor, and today I have Justin Brooke with us. Justin, thanks for coming on the program.
Oh man, thanks for having me on. I've been watching lots of episodes. I'm a fan and glad to be on now.
That's awesome. It's very cool to have fans on. Now, Justin, you're the founder of I Am Scalable, which is at imscalable.com. So tell us a little about your company. First, when was it founded?
Well, I mean, I guess if we're talking about iterations, maybe 2005, but officially, paperwork signed, all that good stuff, 2012, August of 2012.
Gotcha. And so what kinds of things do you typically do for your clients? Because it is a client-side business, right? You're working with services.
Yes. We have some digital products and we have services, and we'll talk about why we have digital products a little bit later on. But primarily, we're a service company. We take care of the paid advertising for supplement companies, software companies, and info publishers.
Gotcha. Now, we've had people come on before and talk about paid advertising, but you do things with a little bit of a twist, and it's something I want to really do a deep dive into. You're involved in social and content marketing in addition to paid marketing. So you're kind of combining the two. You have social and content, and you're using pay-per-click to, as you say, turbocharge the social and the content. And I really want to dig into that, but let's start at the beginning. It seems like those are two totally different strategies. Social and content over here, and then pay-per-click on the other side. At a really high level, how do the two worlds actually collide in your mind?
Well, you just have to get really mad at Google, and then it becomes really like common sense. So I come from SEO kind of background. That's kind of where I started, doing article marketing in the very beginning, and then got pretty good at doing the SEO thing, and then Google changed its mind 50 bazillion times, and I just got sick of it. And they also have a little bit of background in Google AdWords. So, just like right now, we're just in this state where content marketing is doing so well, social marketing is doing so well, and Facebook ads are crushing it. And I was like, man, what if I just combine all of this stuff together? And sure enough, you use Facebook ads with a great blog post that has social sharing features, and the ads are just like gasoline on a fire. I mean, if you think a good blog post spreads well, throw some paid traffic at it and see what happens.
Yeah, and this is kind of a new strategy. I mean, it's been mentioned before, but it's new in general because usually people think, okay, paid advertising is where you send them directly to an offer and try to get money back and recoup some of that money you spent on the paid ad. But you're saying you can send them to a blog post, you send them to content, which I'm assuming you'll make some money down the road from that. And that's a unique strategy. You're thinking more holistic funnel and not so much, I got to make my money back right away from this pay-per-click ad. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I think about it in a couple of different ways. One way I was just explaining it to my wife was, people believe in content marketing. Like if we were just here doing a show about content marketing, people would, that stuff, it works. I'm into that. Mm-hmm. And people believe in paid advertising. And it's kind of like almost when you talk about them both at the same time, now people are like, oh, wait, I don't know if this works. Like both of them work separately. Why wouldn't they work together? And then another way that I was thinking about it, the way I was describing to my wife was, so when people subscribe to your content, what that looks like on their end is they have a feed somewhere where they're seeing your content appearing, your newest stuff show up. Basically, I'm forcing everyone in my market to subscribe to my blog by advertising it in their Facebook news feeds. So whether they want to or not, and now forcing is such a strong way to describe it, but for the most part, everybody in my market is on Facebook, and they have a news feed, and the latest articles I'm doing are showing up in their news feed. So in a way, the whole market is subscribed to my blog, and just like anybody would use content marketing smart in any other way, I've got ways on my blog to capture leads. I've got ways on my blog to capture sales, all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to describe it. They work individually, so why wouldn't we combine them and have this kind of compounding effect. Now, is this a strategy that you do for your clients, or is this something that you're actually doing for I'm Scalable to actually bring in new clients for you? Where does this fit into your kind of overall strategy?
It started out using it on myself. I mean, one thing I want to point out is like I am not like this genius savant who thought of this. There's companies like Outbrain and Taboola, and content advertising is becoming popular, and there's plenty of other companies doing it. And I started out doing it for myself really because I believed in it and I was testing it out, and also partly because everybody else was like, I don't know about that. I want to send my paid traffic right to a sales page. And so tested it out on myself, got great results. I've since talked a couple of my clients into it who, were scared, but they saw my results, and I was like, let me try it out for you. And so slowly but surely, I'm bringing it into more and more of my clients because it's really it's reducing our costs huge and increasing our sales. It's just more effective, and I like to liken it to, if you look at magazine ads and direct mail in the past, they've used two-step processes many, many times. Most of the most successful magazine ads, you write into the ad to get a free pamphlet first, and then it's like the ad is a piece of content which sends you another one, and then there's a sales pitch. So
no, that's great. I think learning from other industries is some of the best ways to innovate. Is just seeing what another industry has been doing for years, but our industry is ignorant about, and then you bring it over, and all of a sudden it's this new thing that works. But this other industry knew about it all the time, and that's a great example. The magazine, I never thought about that, but it's a paid ad going to content, going to subscription.
Yeah,
that's exactly what you're doing there.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Now let's dig into the content side of this equation, because there's the content side and there's the paid side. On the content side, what kinds of content are you publishing? Because the content still has to be high quality. Even though you're putting traffic to it, you put traffic to something that nobody wants to look at or be engaged with, it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Yeah, so what kind of content are you pushing out there?
So the way I see it, there's two types, and there's probably lots of different types. So I'm going to talk about two different types of content. You've got your normal like day-to-day blog post, which has a catchy title, a good topic, but usually it's pretty fast written. It's really just to get some content out there and get a couple of clicks from your fan page. It's just to keep kind of top of mind awareness. And then there's another type of content, which is maybe it's thought leadership, or some people call it their flagship content, or an epic blog post. Some people have referred to it. But for example, one of ours is, are you making these mistakes with your Facebook ads? We want to attract people who are interested in traffic, marketing, things like that. So, and we know that our market is deeply interested in Facebook ads right now. Then I went and looked at all the top headlines. If you go to Google and you type in, greatest headlines, you'll find tons and tons of swipe files. And one of them was this age-old headline that was, are you making these mistakes with your English? And all I did was just change a little bit of that wording to make sense to my audience. I wrote down in the blog post, it says, these are the mistakes I think people are making, and here's the solutions to those mistakes. And at the end, by the way, we have some case studies you want to download. Go download our case studies. That's where we capture the lead. That's where we get them into our sales process.
That's awesome. I love your mentality about all this stuff, because you don't have the not created here syndrome. Some companies, if they didn't come up with the insight originally, they don't feel comfortable pushing it. But you see what the magazines are doing, you push it. You see what some of the other companies were doing that were kind of first in the content and paid stuff, and you start doing it. And now even with the kinds of content and the headlines, you're looking at swipe files to see what works. If nobody learns anything else from this interview, just learn a lot of things have already worked. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just learn how to master a strategy that works and go after it. Now, where are you publishing this content? Are you putting it on just the Facebook fan page? Is it just on your blog? Is it on any other kind of platforms or sites?
Well, we've got a little bit of a system that we're kind of tweaking, and we'll talk about the latest iterations a little bit later. But for the most part, we put it on our blog, and then it gets syndicated out to our Facebook fan page. Sometimes it's a really good post. We'll post it on my personal profile as well, and then We'll tweet it out. That's pretty much it. And there's, it also goes onto my Tumblr. I'm not sure anybody's reading my Tumblr, but it goes to a couple of other places. But really, where we get the most clicks is on our fan page.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, Quaya is also a part of your kind of pipeline. What does Quaya do? How does that fit into the whole thing?
Okay, so Quaya is a tool that just lets you do more with Facebook ads. So if anybody who's used Facebook ads, you probably are aware of the ads manager or the web interface. And that's kind of like the first level of Facebook. And it's become really good lately. They're adding lots of new features to it, and it's really effective. And then the next level is people who are using Facebook ads with the Power Editor. And you can do a lot more with Power Editor. And then the next level beyond that is using a tool like Quaya or Optimal or Social.com. These tools allow you to do more than what Power Editor could do. For example, in Quaya, I can set it to automatically pause my ads if my cost per lead gets too high. So essentially, I never have to waste money because I can say, if I can't afford more than $3 per lead, stop my ads before they get to that point.
Yeah, and Facebook won't give you that functionality because it's not in their interest. They don't want you to set up automatically stops in your campaigns, right?
Right. And then, because I'm using blog posts, one thing I find with newsfeed ads is they fatigue much faster than any other type of ad I've seen. And I really haven't figured out why that is. I just think it's just because the people are looking at their Facebook newsfeed so much more, and they want new things always in there. They're used to it always being new things, and so when they see the same thing over and over again, it burns up much faster. So that's one reason why we use the blogs, because I was like, man, I can't create new landing pages at the pace that these ads are burning out. But I can create new blog posts really quickly. So I'll create 10 different blog posts. I'll set up ads for those and then use Quaya to let one run for 3 days and then pause it, start another one for 3 days. So if I have 10 of them set up and it's automatically pausing, unpausing them, then really they're only seeing one of those blog posts for 3 days out of the month, and every month it's rotated.
I got you. That's
so
a great system.
Yeah,
absolutely. Now, one of the things you said is probably the best way I've heard it broken down, which was there's 3 layers, 3 levels to Facebook ads. There's the kind of generic, pick your audience, here's the interface you see. If you've never done a Facebook ad, it's the general editor. Then there's the Power Editor. You have lookalike audiences, some more power tools in there. And then there's these companies that use the Facebook API to do all kinds of interesting stuff. Let me ask you, is it possible to use the generic, general, low-level entry editor and be successful? Have we gotten to the point that you have to be using the Power Editor or something like Quaya?
Well, it's really a hard question. You can be. However, if you've got a guy, and this sounds really cocky, but if you've got a guy like me who's using Quaya, and I have all these advanced tricks that I can do,
it's hard to compete, right?
It is. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I don't think people realize how much you can do with ads. There's a new one that came out a few months ago, Ad Espresso. And they do similar kind of rotation. They do A/B testing, on everything about the ad. They're doing A/B testing on the copy and the images. The copy and the images interchange. The landing pages are sending them to, and then they're deciding which one performs best, and then dumping their money into that. When somebody has that, and then you have a guy logging in and changing things when he feels like it throughout the day, you don't have a chance, really. It's going to be hard to compete. So
Absolutely.
Now, are you just using Facebook ads or using any other platforms? I know you said you kind of got away from Google. Anything else you're using?
Yeah, I use retargeting as well. And so if the content is like the meat, the bait, I hate using the term bait. It sounds so manipulative. But, for whatever it is, that's the attractive piece. And then Facebook ads is, the gasoline that makes everything go faster.
Yeah.
And then retargeting kind of just comes in and closes the sale.
Yeah. Now, what retargeting companies are you using? Because you have to use a third party. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So who are you using?
Well, pretty soon you're going to be able to use Facebook. I've heard some announcements that they're, because they already have a conversion pixel, they can
Yeah.
just give you a retargeting pixel as well. So I use Perfect Audience and I use Site Scout. Perfect Audience is great. They're a lot like AdRoll. They have the retargeting into Facebook as well as the whole web. However, they're kind of going anti-direct response lately. They don't like squeeze pages. They don't like sales pages. And, I'm a direct response guy. That's, if you tell me I can't use a sales page, I'm like, well, I don't know how to use you. So Site Scout, they don't really care. So I use a mixture of them both.
Yeah. And now what are you doing once you've targeted somebody? So they've been onto some of your content. You have that conversion pixel that's saying, hey, they've been here before. Let's follow them around the web a little bit. What are you doing? Are you showing them ads somewhere else? How are you using that retargeting information at that point?
So we've got a couple of, different things we use to capture a lead. One of them is we have these 3 case studies, and we term it as, learn how we turned $1 into 3. And, people have always said, why don't you use a higher number than that? But it's like, whenever you use a higher number, everybody thinks it's hype and they don't believe it. Drop the price down and make the claims bigger than the proof or something like that. Anyways. And then we have another one. It's a spreadsheet with 202 different traffic sources, resources, places where you can get more traffic, and so we have these different things, and so they come to our blog from Facebook. They land on our blog post. We're retargeting them and showing them, here's these great things that you can download if you give us your name, email, and answer a couple of questions.
All right, so I'm starting to put it all together now. So the blog post can be quickly written. You can cycle through a bunch of them with the ads, for 3 days each, that kind of thing. That's just to get a tracking pixel hooked to them, right?
Yeah.
Once you got the tracking pixel on them, you're not showing them blog posts again, because the blog post is just the entry of the funnel. It's not the heart of it. You're going to then get them to the epic content, the white papers, the studies you've done, the case studies, that kind of stuff. And to get those, you're showing them another ad saying, hey, come check out this. But now they got to give you an email address to get access to the big, meaty content. Is that right?
Right, yeah. So the blog posts are just the bait to bring them in, and then we use retargeting to get them onto an email follow-up. We use email follow-up and retargeting to get them to come in as a customer.
Gotcha. So you have their email address. Where are you emailing them now? So they've seen a blog post on Facebook newsfeed. They've eventually got to this big content with their email address given to you. What are you sending them as to kind of close the deal to get them to the real thing that this was all about?
I've got a 7-part email series that we use, and I've kind of been using it. I don't know, there might be something better, but this has been working for me, and it's really easy for me to follow. So the first email, it gives them the thing that I promised, and it sets expectations. So it says, hey, here's what you're going to receive over the next couple of days, so that they know to expect our emails. And then I introduce myself after that, and then I give them the piece of content that they want, and then I remind them that they need to whitelist us, move us to the personal inbox tab or whatever. Is like, we're going to be giving you this awesome stuff, but if you want it, here's what you got to do. And then we always have a PS at the bottom that says, PS, we reply to all of our emails. Send us your biggest question and we'll answer it for you. What that does for us, the reply shows the email gods, Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, whatever, that we're a two-way communication, which is really important for sender score. And then, two, it's like a built-in survey. Not everybody replies to that. I mean, we got 3,000 plus people who've come in the last couple months, and I've gotten maybe 12 emails. So like some people are scared to do that because they think they're going to get overwhelmed. But and so I get to know my market a little bit more. I get to interact with them, and it helps my sender score. So that's email number one.
Yeah.
Email number two, it tells our story. And so, here's our backstory. This is why you should be listening to what we have to say. Here's how we've gone from rags to riches, or whatever it is, how you came to be someone that they should work with. And then there's a soft pitch at the bottom for what our product is that we offer. Email number three is we try to establish, an us versus them, a common enemy. Here's what we stand for. Here's what we stand against. And that kind of really builds that relationship. It really bonds you with them, becomes very humanized. And then email number 4, 5, and 6 is content, but not content for content's sake. I hate content for content's sake. It's strategic articles so that I can demonstrate my expertise, so that they understand, this guy knows the stuff that I want to be, or this company knows, what I'm interested in. They know the answers to my problems. I want to work with these guys. So it's content like articles on our blog and whatever, but it's the right content to get them in the frame of mind we want them in, so they're thinking about the problems we want them to think about. And then there's a soft pitch with all these. And then email number 7.
Hard pitch, right?
Yeah, hard pitch, man. The free ride is over.
That's awesome. All right, in case people don't know, you just put on a clinic for email, right? So I want to walk through some of the highlights of that, because to people that don't know how this works, they just think, oh, that's what he decided to email out. Cool, good for him. No, there's so much there that's so strategic. Give them what they want in the first email. That's awesome. Getting a two-way relationship, getting Google and all those people to know this is real email, get your quality score up. Then the way you give your story, you need a story. Like, companies can't just be floating silos in outer space. Like, they have to be grounded in a history that got them to where they are. And I mean, just listening to podcasts on the way here today, they said words are the way we think and stories are how we make links. And I'm like, oh, that's so powerful. Like, we need a story. So you give them your story so that you're not just Justin. It's just not I'm scalable. It's, oh, that's the company that did this, this, and this and led to this, and now they're here. So now you have a place in their mind. Then you have an us versus them in that next email. I mean, why do people love to have an argument about Apple versus Microsoft? They're both fine, honestly. I mean, they're both computers that'll do probably what you need them to do, but people love to pick a side. Are you with Goliath? Are you with David? Who are you? What side are you on? You have to have an enemy. You have to have somebody you're fighting with. Then you give them content, builds up your credibility, and then eventually the hard sell. That is an awesome email sequence, and I just wanted to, I know I reiterated a lot of what you already said, but I want to reiterate to let people know it wasn't just a random email sequence, right?
Yeah. There was thought put behind it, and yeah.
No, that's awesome. Now let's talk about the monetization of all this. So the hard sell, what is it you're hard selling them? It's your services, your products, those kind of things, right?
Yeah, we're kind of going back and forth between whether our product or our service. So the way we look at it is our service is the big ticket. That's the thing we really want them to buy. It can be expensive to most because we teach traffic, and every website owner in the world wants traffic. We tend to attract a lot of people who can't afford our services, and so we still need a way to monetize those leads because it's really hard to filter out those people. And we've tried long forms. They'll just fill out the long form. They want to get traffic so bad. So now what we do is we're like, all right, bring all of them in. And then we have 2 ways to monetize them. One is our service, and we make sure that we say, like, our service is for this type of person, this type of company who's earning this much. And so we try to filter those out as much as we can. And then for the people who are not a good fit for our service, we have an info product where we can teach them how to do it themselves.
I got you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense right there. Now, given this whole strategy, the content, social, plus the pay-per-click, how much is a lead costing you roughly, given all the things you're doing?
Our best has been like 60 cents.
Yeah.
And that's just, freakishly good on a fresh new campaign.
Yeah.
But we normally round out between $2 and $3. And then if we don't keep it fresh, it'll just start slowly climbing up.
Yeah, and then how much are you making back from this if you are okay disclosing it? You don't got to give high-level numbers, but for every couple dollars you spend, what's that bringing back into your business?
It changes all the time, but the last time we measured it, we were earning about $35 per lead. So the ROI has been really good.
Yeah, so it's a 10x ROI.
Yeah.
And you think that's because you're mixing the content with the pay-per-click, that it just wouldn't work without and the email, that it's really the whole system together that's giving you that 10x ROI?
Yes. So like I said, that if we leave the ads, that that cost per lead climbs up, and then when it's fresh, we normally see them come in for like 60 cents, a dollar. So using the content allows us to keep them fresh more often without having to create lots and lots of landing pages. Essentially, the blogs are landing pages, but that's what's keeping our lead costs down, is because we have all these ways of keeping our ads fresh.
Yeah, that's great. Now you have kind of a new iteration of this that you've been toying with. Tell me about the video production kind of machine you got going on here now.
Okay, yeah. So this is new, and it's so I don't have like hard numbers on it or whatever, but it's what we believe is going to be even better. The blog posts. It's not always that easy to create a blog post. So the new process is every Monday, I've got a video production coordinator here. Every Monday, I shoot 5 videos, and those 5 videos are topics that are relative to our audience. And each of those videos are between 2 and 3 minutes long. So I shoot these 5 videos within an hour. We schedule an hour on Monday. They get recorded. And then she goes and starts editing them, adding them to YouTube. And so the first thing I do is on Friday, I email her, these are the 5 titles we're going to use. That way we know what videos we're going to do, because the thing that takes the longest time is thinking of what you're actually going to do. And you don't want to be thinking of it when you're sitting there in front of the camera, because then you can't think at all. So I send her the 5 things. We schedule the time. We do the videos. They get posted up there. Now, the video goes on the blog, but she extracts the audio so that we can make a podcast out of it as well. That's added to iTunes and SoundCloud. There's other people doing this stuff. I'm not trying to say like I've invented this, but it works really well. So you take the audio, you split it up into podcasts, you have the video. Now that can go on YouTube, it can go on your blog, it can go on Vimeo. SlideShare takes video now as well. And then we transcribe the video, so now we have text on the blog post, and then we put that transcription into a PDF. That way we can submit it to the ebook places that are out there. And it's something we've done years ago. We used to do it for SEO. Now we're doing it, instead of SEO, we're doing it for social and using our ads.
Yeah, so you're actually putting ads against this new content as well.
The better one. So we'll post these to our fan page now. So that gives us daily content. And then now, instead of sending our traffic to YouTube, we're able to send that traffic to our blog. And then we've got these, rich media blog posts that have audio, written, video. So now we're bringing the traffic back into our environment instead of YouTube's environment. And then, whichever ones are catching on more, the ones that are getting more likes, more comments, then we know, okay, that's the hot one. Let's throw some money behind it.
Yeah, that's great.
And it could be $10 a day. We're not spending a fortune on these things.
Yeah. I like how, everything you just outlined, it seems like you really put together a machine to create this content. And I think that's something that people don't realize is if you think about the blogs that are just everywhere, the Kissmetrics, the HubSpots of the world, those kind of blogs, it's not a guy in a room writing. They're machines. They have a guy overseeing the blog, but his whole goal is get new writers, get new content, get new videos, get new PDFs. Like, there's a machine behind the scenes that is created so that it's shareable, digestible content that can show up in all these different places. And a lot of the little guys don't get that, so they just go and try to write a bunch of blog posts that are really good, and they're never going to get traction because they haven't thought about it from a systems point of view. And I like that you have, on Friday, you're seeing out headlines. Monday, you're recording videos. The rest of the week, it's being divided up, put on these social networks. You can get traction that way. It's hard to get traction any other way, right?
Yeah. If you're doing it all yourself, it's possible. You're just gonna have to work really, really hard. And we all start there, right? You know, so you got to do that until you can. But as soon as you can, if you can put a team behind this, or even just if you're doing it yourself, systemize it yourself so that you're saying, okay, I'm going to record all my videos. I'm going to think of my stuff on Friday. I'm going to record my videos on Monday. That way, because you need to have a whole week of promotion. There's 2 parts to content marketing. There's creating the content, and then there's marketing the content. There's 2 words in content marketing.
Yeah, you can't leave out either one.
Right.
Now, what kinds of companies should listen to this interview and say, yeah, we should try that? or even what kind of companies should hear this and you should tell them, don't try this, it's not going to work for your industry? Any insights there?
I mean, you probably have some of the industries that have like the embarrassing products, personal hygiene kind of products and diseases or whatnot that maybe, content marketing is not going to be too great. But this is something that works for supplement companies, software companies, info publishing companies, a service company like myself. Mm-hmm. I believe that it would work for local mom and pop shops. I think it would be insane for local mom and pop shops to do something like this. They would probably have lines down the block. Yeah. So, those are the type of companies I think this works really well for.
Yeah, well, Justin, this has been an incredible interview. There's been so much actionable stuff. I have one last question here for you. What's the best advice that you have for any startup that's trying to grow besides just imitating you?
It kind of goes with the whole theme of everything, and you kind of pointed it out earlier on in the interview. Success has already happened. We don't really need to think of how to become successful. There's already a Richard Branson and an Elon Musk, and, there's already people who have blazed the trail. So you just need to figure out, okay, this is what I want to do. Who's already figured out how to do this? And then go see how they've done it. That way you can do it. And then just add your own flavor to it, add your own style to it, improve upon it, and there you go. I mean, I think that's the biggest advice. I mean, that's what helped me the most.
Yeah, that's awesome advice to end on. Justin, thank you so much for coming on Growth Hacker TV.
Thank you for having me, man.